evening. The time is 5:30. We call the Leesburg City Commission meeting to order. We'd all bow our heads for a word of prayer, followed by a pledge of allegiance to the flag. Heavenly Father, we are so thankful to live in such a wonderful city as Leesburg. We thank you for our mayor, our city council, our city manager, all of our employees. Thank you for, God, all that do so much good work for our city, our county, our state, and our national figures. We pray for their wisdom and God's understanding. We pray tonight the decision we make will be beneficial for all of our residents, the guests who visit our great city. We ask all these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we have no proclamations, and we do have a presentation of the Aquatic Facility Project presentation.
You want to introduce the traffic?
Mayor, Commissioners, public, today I'm pleased to introduce CPH. We've been working with them for the past 6-8 months to put together Leesburg Aquatic Complex concepts. They've taken it to the rec board, and rec board was very excited about it, so we're excited to have them here to show it to you guys. Erica started? All right, Nick's going to start.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity. We've really enjoyed working with the city staff on developing these concepts. My name is Nick Jindal from CPH. I'm Vice President of CPH today. We have Erica Gagne. She's one of our architectural designers who's been working on the project. Leo Ayala, he's our civil site engineer and Vice President of CPH as well. And then we have Steve Croker with Water Technologies. He's the pool consultant that does, he's done numerous competition and rec facility pools, so he's been working with us on the layout of the pools themselves. We were tasked to come up with a concept, and so the first concept, that we're going to go through the different concepts, but the first one was to really maximize your budget and get you a facility that kind of meets your needs and stays within a specific budget. Then we were asked to come back and say, well, what was your ultimate design that you could do? So that we came up with a second concept, and then the third concept that we developed was kind of a combination thereof and in between to kind of give you the most bang for your buck. And so we'll kind of go through them all. The site really stays the same on all three concepts. It's really the pool and some of the building features that change. And so we'll go into that with Leo talking about the site first.
Good evening. My name is Leo Ayala. I'm with CPH and part of the team. The site is about 4.75 acres, located at the northwest corner of Pine Street and South Child Street. Here, northwest corner. Is partially vacant. Has a few trees and a few houses that will have to be demolished to construct what we're proposing at this point. Based on the shape of the property, we try to maximize the use of the property and have the parking proposed on the east side and the building and pool facilities on the west side of the property. We are proposing about 56 parking spaces, actually 56 parking spaces. 6 of them are going to be bus parking. And 2 connection points, 2 main connection points. One is going to be on Pine Street and 1 connection on South Child Street. Access to the site, if you are coming from South Child Street, you can come and park immediately if you choose to, or you can have, we have designed a drop-off area. This drop-off area can be used for buses. They will come through here, drop, and then park. Or if you are coming from Pine Street, you can come in, can use the drop-off area, or you can park as you need. We are proposing to have some overflow parking, grass overflow parking in this area in case of special events. as Erica and the team are going to be talking about this area here, but just to close, the utilities are available on Pine Street. Water and sewer are available on Pine Street, and stormwater-wise, we're proposing dry retention ponds located in the areas that you see here. As Nick indicated, the civil side is basically the same for the three concepts. It's just minor tweaking on the stormwater and the pool deck. This property or this development is proposed to have lights for parking and the facilities, so it can be used during night events. And with that, we'll let Erica.
Hi, my name's Erica Gagne and I'm architectural designer. So we were tasked with having a facility that included bath and restrooms. The bath and restroom facility is here, and also having administrative concession and lifeguard area. I designed this layout so that you could have once you drop off your kids, or the kids come and the buses drop off kids, you have a central access into the building that's connected by a canopy. It provides a very welcoming and inviting entrance with some controlled access. It allows, as soon as you enter, to see the zero entry pool. The concession area has a canopy here that has some picnic tables that can be used for parties and events. There's also family restrooms right there between the two buildings. So you have your men's, women's restroom and 2 family rooms. It does include indoor and outdoor showers. The other elements to this is around the pools, we have a non-slip concrete deck that has some umbrella shade structures, and that varies from the first concept to the third concept. So I will go to you.
Well, this first concept, you can see that it's a single pool, but in a way it behaves as 2 pools. You have this competition pool here, and in each option that we're going to look at today, the competition pool is an 8-lane pool. That's kind of the high school standard. It's 8 lanes, each lane being 25 yards, okay? And by code, the capacity of that pool is about 250 people. The main variation between the 3 options is this portion of the pool. In this portion of the pool, we're calling that the leisure pool. It has, we were directed to include at least these 3 major components. Number 1 is a beach entry, which is this fan-shaped area. Number 2 is a participatory play feature in that beach entry. That's a really kind of a high capacity thing for kids to climb on and manipulate spray valves and things. There's a little slide that comes off that deck as well for the kids who are mostly in the 6 and under age group. And then finally, there's a water slide, and this is a real, a 2-story water slide with a fiberglass flume like you'd see in a water park. We've oriented the beach in each option that you see. The beach is oriented to be closest to the entry, and that's an important safety feature of a pool. If you have a young child and you're changing or getting someone ready, you don't want them to run out to the pool and all of a sudden they're in 8 feet water depth. So you want to. It's important to orient the beach like we did. This particular beach. Okay, this particular zone here is about, it's the smallest option we looked at. It's a single pool, so it's got 1 pump, 1 filter, 1 chemical controller, and things like that. This pool has a capacity of about 150 people. So with 250 there and 150 there, that's your total capacity in the pool. So, did I do that? Sorry. Okay, this is concept 2. So we were tasked, after looking at 1, there was a little concern that the recreational portion of that pool was undersized. Possibly the capacity of the facility was too small. So we were tasked to look at what else could we do with this site? What could we do bigger and better? So we developed this option. And you can see in this pool, in this option, 2 different pools, okay? There is an advantage of 2 pools, and that is you can get 2 water temperatures. So a lot more money, and there's more maintenance cost with this, but it is sometimes considered an advantage. But this is a this 2-pool concept. The leisure pool is significantly larger. This is twice as large as the option 1 pool, and therefore has twice as many bather capacity, twice the bather capacity. So this is option 2, and so after meeting with the city, we kind of determined that possibly we could take the best of both and develop an option 3. So are you ready to? So when we look at option 3, we see that it is a combined pool. We have the competition pool here, which again is the same in every option. We've oriented a little bit of an angle. That's put spectator seating on the north and the south, which we think is really a nice feature. We've oriented the beach facing southwest, which is the ideal orientation relative to the sun. And we still have a large area here. And option 2 and option 3, this area is used for water slide, but it's also it can be used during a competition for meet warm up and things like that. So and in this option, we've added a 4th feature that we think is really important for the kids who are 8, 9, 10 years old. At the bottom area here, we have what's called an Aqua Ninja. That's a brand new feature from AquaClimb, and it's a really exciting feature that the kids can. It's almost like a jungle gym that's in and above the water. So it's a really exciting thing for that age group. So those are kind of the keys to this facility. Again, is 1 body of water, and therefore it's the operational cost and the initial cost is lower than option 2.
What about the number of parking spots on this one?
It's the same.
They're all the same.
Yes.
There are 56 parking spots. And something that we did a little different on this 3rd concept is we combined some elements from the 1st concept and the 2nd concept. If you notice, the 1st concept had umbrella shade structures. And the 2nd concept, we had larger rectangular shade structures that you can use for renting out for events and parties. We combined those 2 elements to have a little bit of both, and also put one in the beach entry for parents who are, have their kids in there and they want to stay under the hot sun during the summertime. So we broke that up a little bit, but that allows you to get a little bit of return on investment as well when you have parties. Birthday parties, you can rent those out and leave the umbrella shade structures for the other public. Another feature that we did a little bit differently is that we trimmed down the building square footage to allocate more funds into the pool. We realized that doing this design was sort of a medium between the 1st concept and the 2nd concept. And so in doing so, we still have the same elements, the bathhouse with the restrooms. It has outdoor showers in the center. And then we combine the administrative and concession areas with the lifeguard station. So you cut a little bit of square footage there, which helped allocate some of those funds into the pool, which is the main feature and the most important, part of kids playing in this area. So
where have you put the storage area?
There is storage up here at the end of the building, close to the pump equipment. So it'll be actually another feature here is that in the other 2 plans showed family restrooms there in between the men's and women's facility. Here I've put them at the entrance so that when parents come in, they can automatically go into those family restrooms, and the other adults can go to the right. And there's also storage at the end of it, which will also have a mechanical room that's allocated for the building.
What size is that storage room going to be? I'm thinking about chemicals and everything else.
Well, the pool equipment is actually up here, so that's going to be on a gravel bed, and that'll be where the chemicals, a lot of the chemicals go to. We tried to provide an easy access from one of these spots here that a truck can come in and just pull in and drop off those chemicals. But then that also allows some connectivity to that storage room. It's about a 10 by 20, about 100 square feet of storage. So we did make it a little bit bigger to accommodate, you know, if you have other equipment that needs to go in there, you have some space to store other items, or, you know, if those shade umbrellas need to come off, they can be stored in there as well.
One other question, what type of security are you putting around those pools? They've got to be
We do
protected.
have, we have a fence around the entire concrete deck,
Okay.
and then we'll have an access gate at the entrance. That'll get a little bit further developed as we get into more of the design development of it, but that'll help with the incoming and outgoing public that's going in. And so to the south side of this building here, we have administrative area where you'll be admitting people in, and then they're close to the concession stand. So there's a little bit of access control for the
good.
people coming in and out. So we met with the rec board and presented these 3 options, and I think the consensus was that concept 3 was the most efficient plan, something that provided them with everything that they were looking for in terms of the recreational areas, the layout of the building, everything that really worked. It was a really good medium between the concept 1 and concept 2. So you can go to the next slide. You'll see how our plans developed, just with the pool sizes in general. Just the main differences between these concepts. You get a smaller pool, you do go to a bigger, more separated pool, and then the third concept kind of blends those 3 together.
And then looking at the cost, you know, concept 1 is 4.5 million. You know, on just with all the different allowances we have in there. Concept 2 runs about 5.2 million, and then concept 3 is 4.4 million. You know, we have a lot of different allowances because we're really in the preliminary stage of everything, so we've got different allowances built in there for, you know, trash, trees, clearing, that kind of stuff, but just using general, you know, current bid numbers and stuff like that. Your concept 1 and 3 are your most efficient cost-wise for you guys, because when you combine the pools, you get actually a better per square foot rate of construction, because it's a lot easier for the contractor. When you separate the pools, the per square foot price jumps up, because now they're forming 2 completely separate pools and they're running different plumbing and everything like that. So those are your kind of your cost efficiency differences between the pool layouts.
So graphically, I noticed you got 3 concepts, but only 3 have landscape options. Why did you just put landscape on 3 and not 2 on 1?
We were just, we were developing the plans at the time, and so once we developed the 3rd plan, we had a little bit more graphic abilities to be able to make that more presentable, and but the idea and the intent is to have landscape on those first and second concepts.
Yeah, they're actually in the numbers, and that's not an actual like landscape plan. We just kind of put.
I just wondered graphically why 3 looked better than the rest of them. I don't know if you're trying to influence us or what. But.
No, it was just we had a little extra time on that.
Okay.
After meeting with the rec board and knowing that we they were really interested in concept 3, we developed it a little bit further for this presentation.
I noticed, I think you said once about with the 2 pools, the competition pool and the recreation pool, that one could be used for waiting or warming up. So my question is, if we're having a competition, will the other pool, or could the other pool be open to the public?
It could be. Concept 2 would be the most accepting of that.
Well, since recommended 3, I'm talking about 3 because I think for me it's important that, you know, we don't shut the pool down because we got competition. We don't have to.
Right.
So I don't want to shed 150 people out in the middle of summer because someone's having a swim meet. So that would be my concern as we'll separate them. Can we have families over here while they have competition pool? So we're not saying to our community, hey, we got competition for the next 3 days, you guys can't swim. So that would be my concern. Could we find, is there a way in there we can devise it where if we have competition, we also can have families still swimming?
Concept 3 was developed so that could be possible.
Okay.
There's going to be challenges. You might have to put out some barriers to separate areas, you know, some temporary barriers, but it is possible. Whether the city would choose to do that, I don't know.
Well, that's my vote. Without that, then we need to come back with concept 4.
Absolutely.
Well, and that you could possibly use the beach area and block off the area that goes deeper in, so that there's one of the things about having a competition pool and having kids there as well is there's a lot of noise, a lot of interference, and so you don't want kids running around to the competition pool. But maybe that's more of an event planning where you put some of those barriers there to allow certain functions of the leisure pool to be used.
But both concept 2 and 3, you should be able to use both pools. Obviously, with 2, you definitely can. With 3, you should be able to, because the substantial upgrade you have is, how many square feet was the concept 3? It was
3836.
So, I mean,
concept 5 is 5,000 and concept 1 is 25.
So you have substantial swimming area, and you have about a 21-foot swimming well over there, over where the Aqua Ninja thing is, and the slide is. So you have a deep area, deep water that people could even just free swim in. Obviously the potential is that you could use that for warm up and cool down for the competition as well. So that might be the only extra disturbance you have potentially, but you would have that with any of those layouts, because they would then use the other pool for that too.
When you look at the competition pool in each option, the left side is the deep end of the pool. That's where all starts are. That's where all finishes are. So that's where the majority of the meet management takes place. So that gives quite a significant separation.
On concept 3, how much of that price is roughly is the recreational equipment?
This slide is, you want to know the items costs?
Yeah, just rough of the 4 how much is it?
The slide is 175,000. The play structure was
120.
20,000. 120, and then I believe the Aqua Ninja was about 30,000.
It's about three and a quarter.
And what's the lifespan on this stuff?
And just those are actually the same cost on all 3.
Okay, yeah. What's the lifespan on this stuff?
They've been in the industry for 30, 40 years, and many of the original ones are there. A water slide, for example, typically will need to be re-gel coated about after 15 to 20 years. Perhaps the slide itself, the structure might need repainting, but they last 30 years plus. And I would say that the play structure is in that same ballpark. The materials are similar.
Yeah. I mean, I do have some concerns, and maybe staff can flesh that a little bit, about all this play equipment, just because of the issues we had with the splash pad, with the run-in and people falling, and as soon as you have stuff that allows the kids to get out of the water. So I don't know if there's more stuff we could do that keeps them in the water, but I'm certainly not an expert on this. So, and then again, I don't know anything about competition swimming. Does this allow us to do like all the type of meets that we need to do? Is that I know I've heard about different types, and
all high school swimming is done in a 25-yard format.
Okay.
All NCAA, surprisingly, is done in a 25-yard format.
Okay.
A true Olympic pool is a 50-meter pool.
We don't need
we're not
that.
going to, that doesn't even fit on the site. So
Right,
yes, it does.
okay.
It allows just about every other type
Okay.
of meet. And 8 lanes of competition is what's used in the Olympic final. So that's kind of the standard.
Okay. And what's the rough annual operating difference between 2 pools and a combined pool?
I would say it is, for year-round operation, I would guess it's probably, because there's 2 pumps for, there's twice as much equipment, and that all needs to be maintained. I would estimate it's probably between $20,000 and $40,000 a year, maybe.
Difference, or okay.
The difference.
Thank you.
My comments have to do more, I guess, I think your work is great. My comments are more with the site. Al knows what I'm getting ready to say. These cost numbers keep going up. If we're going to spend this kind of money, I feel strongly that we need to, buy the rest of these properties. I mean, this property zigzags all over the place. I don't like that at all. I guess, I got very vocal in the initial meeting on that corner at Canal. I think, once again, we're spending all this money, not for parking, but just from a visibility standpoint. I mean, people come down Canal. The reason I was so vocal about that corner is I want people to be able to see it. I see a sign there, where pointing to the pool. and people come down Canal can see it. Right now we got a parking lot there, and we're, I just can't believe we're going to build this building up against it. So I guess in summary, I'd like to pick up, go back to what I thought we were doing, just shaping this thing properly. I just don't like all these little carve-outs. We're going to drop a $4 or $5 million pool, and we're going to have this rundown house. We're going to zigzag around a rundown house. That's what bothers me. I don't know what the rec committee, Parks and Rec committee thought about that, or what any comments.
Can you go back to your other slide? One of the concepts shows it better. So there's 4 areas of concern by property owner.
The biggest one being the corner.
First is this corner piece here is the CAC parcel. So we did kind of the land swap deal on that between CAC, CDC, and the city. CDC's approved it, we've approved it. We're waiting on the CAC to approve the land swap. The CAC is a little bit concerned because they think that there might be some muck and wetlands back in the CDC property. I should hear back from them shortly on that. So as far as acquisition of that is, barring this CAC is happy, we should be able to acquire this corner.
Well, and I would just add, if we're trading wetlands, they should be entitled to more land. We just need to figure that one out.
Yeah, I went back there the other day. I'm not a geologist, but I didn't see too many wetlands back there.
Okay.
No signs of that goofy wet grass that's typical of wetlands and that kind of stuff. And so, but we'll revisit that. I feel pretty good that we'll end up with that. We did purchase these areas. Yep, you got here, here, and here. That's actually 4 parcels. We purchased those. That's on the spreadsheet there, about 350 grand we spent on that. We have also tendered an offer to the owner of this parcel and this parcel, same one. We did a fair market value appraisal on that. I think the fair market value appraisal was about $105,000 for both lots, and I think our last offer was $125,000.
Are those numbers in here?
Those numbers are not on the spreadsheet.
That's fine. I was just curious.
We can. My suggestion to the commission is, depending on where you want to go, maybe we might want to increase that a little bit more. I wouldn't get too crazy on that number, and then maybe there's some other remedies there we need to look at. The 4th parcel is the doctor's parcel. We did an offer on that. We offered, I think we did an appraised value or appraiser's value on that one.
35.
And I think our offer was below that. I want to say our offer was in the ballpark of 20, 25. Do you remember, Fred?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
And then they rejected that. I think their number was 50. And they had purchased it, I think, for 30, 35, something like that. So we couldn't get the doctors to sell for that. At 50,000, I felt like even though we did have jagged pieces here, this was the one we could probably work around the most, but also was kind of unsightly because it's got the chain link fence and it's tall, the grass is there.
Well,
so
they probably need to maintain that grass.
What's that?
They probably need to start cutting that grass, or codes to call for that.
I would think so. I mean, so there's some other remedies there. So that's where we're at with that. I think this one will end up turning out okay. This one is probably the toughest. This one is 50 grand. Will get you that lot.
Well, the corner to me is very important for all the reasons I just said. I just think we need to work that one out. I thought that was a
the corner being the CAC.
Yeah, I thought that was a win for everybody. The CAC, the CDC, and this multi-million-dollar pool. The 2 to the north would be my next priority. The little, whatever you call it, the little notch down at the bottom.
But just on that, on that CAC lot, that was roughly they were getting about 6,800 square feet for giving up about 2,000 square feet. So their land mass is tripled.
Okay. I just feel okay. Enough said. I just feel like we can make three groups happy there. That should be a win for everybody. That should, and I just think it's important.
Any other commission comments? Any comments from the public? Yes, sir, Mr. Luckett.
Don Luckett. I brought this up some time ago, and I think I'd like to bring it up again. has there been any thought given to making it an indoor-outdoor pool so it could be utilized 12 months a year? You've got the summer kids rush, you might say, in the pool, but there's a lot of adults and senior citizens who use the pool for exercise and rehabilitation purposes. You know, if you're going to spend that kind of money, why not spend a little bit more and make it so you can utilize the pool 12 months a year? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. On that note, I would just advise the commission a couple of things: cost and partnerships. Obviously, going indoor, outdoor is really going to increase your cost. My guess would be we're talking 7 digits, like a couple of more $1 million. And 2, partnerships. I think the partnership concept sounds good. We did have some preliminary conversations with the hospital about a multi-use type of pool like Mr. Luckage brought up. But the problem when we got into the partnerships is A, other partners weren't bringing enough money, and then B, other partners wanted to kind of dictate operating values that we thought would ultimately hurt our pool operations. And then the same with the school board too, so we visited those concepts. And so I think the partnership concept sounds fun and neat and can work, but at the end of the day, it really hurts our operations, and other partners aren't bringing enough money.
Thank you, sir.
Alan Reisman, just a quick question. Is it possible to put the bus parking farther away to give more residents more usable space up closer?
I think the answer to that's yes, and as we get back into more final design, we'll look into that. Actually, that was one of the things I was thinking about looking at those pictures.
I just figure with a max capacity of 400 people, 56 parking spots is a little small. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate it. You want to comment on that, please?
I actually do want to answer to that. The bus parking, when there are no buses, is used as double parking. So you can park in those spots. It's only when buses are there.
I think buses are only picking up and dropping off, so I just feel like they should be parked farther away.
I'd think about paving that overflow parking and letting the buses park over there.
They might park on the grass. You don't have to even pave it. There'll be like 5 people, right? 5 bus drivers. So, what you need from us?
Which is just a general consensus on what. Again, the numbers were a little bit concerning, I thought, and we were kind of bouncing around a little bit over there. Option 3 seemed to be, again, the rec board favorite. It was the staff favorite as well. And we're looking at a budget somewhere between, the base estimate was 4 to 4.6 million. We have about 3.5 in there. So a little shortfall maybe in there, potentially in there, but what we'd like to do is continue to push forward, finish off design, which is in the budget, and get it out to bid, and then figure out how we go from there. So the next step would be just a consensus to go ahead and complete design. We can nip and tuck as we move forward. When we're finished design, we'll bring it back to you for one final look-see, and then we'll go out to bid. So as long as everybody's pretty much okay with that, that's where we would be headed.
Peterson?
I'm okay as long as we make best efforts on the land. I mean, I'm a broken record here, but we're going to regret one day not doing this right. If we're going to spend this kind of money, I'm going to go ahead and say buy all the land. Just do it right.
And I agree. I think we need to keep prodding with the owners and see if we can get them to maybe to be in the Christmas spirit.
I just look at that. I think we're going to be picked on and ridiculed down the road.
And I know the staff have the 35 feet for a right-of-way. Is that 35 feet?
Yeah, we did put extra width in there for an addition for a potential widening of the Pine Street corridor. To try if we ever do a project like this that opens up that corridor, we have space in front of the pool.
And that could be, I guess we're going to use the eminent domain and take the little small piece for public use.
That's where we would go with that.
Okay. Not that I'm suggesting that by any means, just
exactly.
I'm not okay with it. I don't think we should ever use it for anything. We'd be better to pay him the $50,000 and cheaper in the long run.
Say that.
Look at
by the time you pay the attorney's fees and the appraisers, you're going to be way over 50.
Yeah.
Condemn it.
Fred, you messed me up, man, on TV, Fred. That's my negotiation, though.
Well, it's not necessarily well known that in Florida, if you condemn something, you pay both sides.
Yeah.
So you pay our fees, and you pay their fees, and you pay our appraiser, and you pay their appraiser.
The style's looking real nice right now.
Yeah.
I agree with Commissioner Peterson, but I'm okay with giving staff a little more time to work through it. I think they understand and are working at it. I'm okay with number 3. To move forward, I'm probably going to want to see a lot less recreational equipment in the final design for me, but we can go ahead and move forward.
Give some options with and without recreation equipment. So make Dan feel much better. Commissioner Dennis?
I actually like the separation of the 2 pools so that you can have both of them going at the same time. However, to me, it's not worth the additional money. So I think number 3 looks good as long as we have enough storage and whatnot in there. And as far as the recreational equipment goes, I would like a definite warranty on that equipment because it's going to be sitting out in the Florida sun. And we know how that deteriorates really rapidly. So if we're spending that much money, I want to make sure we're covered. Okay? So I like 3.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'm good with 3. I just would like to see both pools operating at the same time. I'm like Commissioner Roebuck. I don't know what the competition pool would bring, how many competitions we're going to have. It's going to be 3 a month, 6 a month, and I would just hate to build a $5 million, $4 million pool and tell the city residents we have a swim meet everybody from out of town. You can't use your pool 10 times out the month in the hot summer. So I really like seeing in our design phase that we can work on some way that we can either have some type of separation or staff can research and what we can do for dividers to make sure that the pool is operational even while they're having competition.
Also, Travis, I'd like to see what you would be charging these competitors from the outside. Okay, because that's going to recover some of the operational expenses.
Because I'm a novice when competition. I would like to see, is this even usable? Is it not gonna, I know we're talking good, but do we really have a take on someone's going to come have competition in Leesburg? So I don't know if you can do a survey or kind of give some research on any pools near that have the same type of format. Make me feel better spending this much money on competition pools, knowing we're going to have it's a market for it. But I'm good on 3, so I guess consensus 3, Mr. Minner.
You got it.
Thank you, CPH, for all your hard work and working with our staff, and I'm sure they were pleasant to work with. Look at Travis, that we were. All right, consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. The commissioner staff will discuss any item. The procedures as follows. Pull the items from the consent agenda, vote on remaining items with 1 roll call vote, and discuss each pulled item and vote by roll call. Are there any items tonight to be pulled?
4C1, both A and B.
Okay.
4C2.
Then I will entertain a motion.
I move to accept all other issues as written.
Second.
With proper second, roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes.
Commissioner Dennison?
Yes.
Mayor Christian?
Yes. Item 4C1A is a resolution. Someone like to introduce it, please?
I will introduce and ask to read by title only, please.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a public transportation grant agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation for the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol facility rehabilitation and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion?
The reason I asked this to be pulled, I know that there's a resident in the audience that has a question regarding these funds.
Okay.
Just a quick question. Would the main user be willing to put any of the money towards the $50,000, or could we use the fees collected to offset that cost?
I don't understand.
The airport's putting like $50,000 of the city airport money.
Right.
Would the main user be willing to put any money towards
Main
that,
user
or could we
being
use the fees
villages.
collected to help offset that?
I think, did we talk to the villages, where's Tracy? Did we talk to them before that? I kind of think we did, and they were,
No. I was just curious. I know it's a huge asset to the
I mean,
airport and the city,
and
so.
we had that discussion, I think, a little bit, but at the, The villages does offset the majority, the cost of the customs building, so I don't.
Just a question, just curious.
Tracy Dan, Airport Market Chair. I've not spoken to the villages organization about the costs, but I also can honestly say that they're not necessarily our largest user any longer. So
Who's our largest user, Tracy?
Well, we do have plenty of transient population and local that are based there that do clear customs. So
Do they have to pay a charge coming through to clear customs?
yes, everybody does.
Okay, and that money goes back to the airport?
It's a pass-through. It does get reimbursed by
Because
the village's equipment
Oh.
company.
Okay.
But what's the bill that they're paying a year? It's a big number.
It's like $150, 200. Isn't that what we're doing?
123,000 and change,
a year. Yeah.
and that's for staff and equipment and clearance.
Any other discussion from the public? Thank you, Ms. Tracy.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roebuck,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennison,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Christian.
Yes. Item 4C, B,
Two.
2.
I'll introduce that to be read by title only.
I'm sorry. Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, adopting the establishment of the firefighter recruit classification and pay grade within the fire department and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I pulled this because my understanding is that we're not really having problems filling positions, that we just had 3 open and we filled them pretty easily.
We're trying to make a concerted effort to have the fire department reflect the community. And right now, when it comes to going to fire school, there's not a lot of women and there's not a lot of African Americans out there taking the classes. So it just gives us a tool to go out and recruit. Basically, it's not a new position. It's basically when a position comes open, that we can find someone in class or has an interest into it, we can start a discussion with them. Basically, the same program the police department is doing.
Right, but for different reasons. The police department was struggling to fill spots.
We have some positions we are struggling for. When it comes to paramedics and when it comes to trying to fulfill the diversity in the fire department, there are some struggles with that.
How many applicants do we have for when we had the 3 positions qualified?
For paramedic, we had 12 apply and 1 actually show up.
For paramedic?
Yes. For EMT, there was 100.
I thought these. Hold on. When you say paramedic, are they already firefighters?
Yes, they're a combination of the 2.
Well, this doesn't do that.
It does. It
So
brings
you're
them
gonna-
in as a single cert.
So you're going to hire but if they're not paramedic, you're not going to hire them as a firefighter recruit. You're going to hire them as a firefighter.
I'm going to hire him as a firefighter recruit
If
that
they're-
may or may not have his paramedic, but most likely will have his paramedic because now they need fire school, which is the shortest version. of
Oh,
getting
so
certified.
you're talking about if you want to hire a paramedic that's not a firefighter?
Yes. We did this a long time ago. I tried to reintroduce it with HR. We could not find this paperwork when we did it. We called it a civil service or a civilian hiring process. We couldn't find that paperwork to reinstitute it, so I'm just formalizing and bringing it back to what we had to give us that availability to go out and recruit.
Are we going to pay for them to go to the...
You can. It is an option in there, but the cost can be offset by the vacant position.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little heartburn on paying for school when we can hire people that do. And I get the paramedic, but we could hire plenty of firefighters.
The EMT firefighter, I don't have a problem with that one all day. We find those, like I said, there was 100 on there.
But we can hire those and then send them to go be a paramedic already.
You're paying for it then too, because he's hired.
But you're getting a firefighter that can work as a firefighter immediately.
Yes, but the paramedic program takes about 2.5 years, almost 2 years to finish.
Yeah. But here you're getting people who can't do anything.
Well, no, the paramedic.
Well, they can't go firefighters. They can't be a firefighter.
Well, let's get it 2 ways. To go to paramedic school and get cleared by the doctor, it takes almost 2 years. To go to fire school, 3 months.
Okay.
And it's a lot cheaper.
Okay, so you think you were going to use this to hire paramedics and then send them to firefighter school?
Yes. Or they can be already in school, and I can go out and start.
Because what I don't want us to use is to go hire firefighters when we have plenty of applicants that are just for a firefighter.
We got plenty of applicants for that.
Right.
So, but it will assist us in diversifying and whatever. We can go out and start the process basically. We tried it in the past, and Melissa wanted me to basically formalize this because it didn't have a pay grade for it. So, and I couldn't produce the old paperwork from 2004 when we adopted it by the commission.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm okay with it. I would like in maybe 12 months or so to hear how it's being used and what we've done with it and how it's worked.
Well, one of the candidates from in the past is our captain. She wanted me to make sure you understood that you got a great candidate out of her when she did it back in 2005.
Okay, good.
So,
all right.
She told me that right before I got here.
Okay.
Very good. Any other commission? Public comment? Roll call.
Commissioner Dennison?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes.
Mayor Christian?
Yes. Public hearing 5A,
A, B, and C.
A, B, and C
Pulled.
has been pulled. It'll be re-advertised at a later date.
This year.
The 5D is a resolution. Someone like to introduce it?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only, please.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of agreement with South Sumter Gas Company, LLC, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moving to proper second. Any discussion from the commission? From the public? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes.
Commissioner Dennison?
Yes.
Mayor Christian?
Yes. There are no information reports tonight. City attorney items?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
City manager items.
Nothing tonight either.
Public comment. This section reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities for praise. Issues brought up will not be discussed in detail at this meeting. Issues will either be referred to the proper staff or scheduled for consideration at a future city commission meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, please. Are there any public comment tonight? Saying no comment, roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes, we had a great chamber gala last week at the community building, and certainly all sorts of great comments about what a nice facility it is. So that was good. And then another thing that was brought to my attention, a big part of what we do is letting the public come speak to us. And I'd never thought about this, but apparently we're one of only 3 of the 14 cities plus the county that does public comments at the end of the meeting. Most let people come and speak at the beginning, especially some of our meetings, they go 3 hours and we don't ever know how, and that might be tough for people. So I would like us to move our public comment to the beginning, so if people want to come here and speak, they know when they need to be here, and make it a little bit easier on them. I mean, I like to have them sit and listen to me, but
Yeah.
they might not want to.
I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
Sounds logical to me.
Okay.
Sounds like a good idea.
And the last thing, since this is my last meeting this year, I'd like to wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
So are those before the consent agenda? Right?
We'll,
Yes,
put,
right at
we'll,
the
put it,
beginning.
we'll put it after presentations.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Commissioner Dennison?
Yeah, I actually, one of the things that I was asked during the week about was the fees for the new community center
Oh, yeah.
for things like the high school and the band and whatnot. They were quoted for next May, $3,500 for the night. Now, I know that sounds great. However, that's going to be bringing a lot of really good publicity to Leesburg. It's the jazz band's 100th anniversary this coming May.
Pulling track. The band paid the full fee because it was a Friday. Was that deal, or is that just a story?
The band?
Yeah.
What?
Commissioner Dennison was talking about the band.
There's a
was
band
having
there
to pay
tomorrow.
the full freight on the community
May.
building
The high
in
school
May.
band.
The high school
The
band.
high school band's there tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's $600
Back
that
in
they
May.
were charged.
I have to.
Here's, we'll look at the charges, but on that note, okay, because it could, believe you me, this is like comes across my desk every day.
Well, it's a Pandora's box,
Okay.
and that's why I was being
And so we've
careful
been
with that.
very good about it. All right. So we have the not-for-profits that come before me with the not-for-profit rate, which is pretty darn cheap. It was pretty much. I think we nipped and tucked it just a little bit, but it was pretty representative of what we did before. And the commission was very specific. That fee is for Mondays through Thursdays. And we've lived by that. We have had a couple of groups like the Educational Foundation. They wanted to come in and use the building on a Friday or as a Saturday. Nope. And so we'll double check. I'll square up with you on what the band was charged and what they're doing.
Yeah, well,
my guess is that
$600
$600 fee
Yeah.
and that higher fee sounds like that's a Friday weekend fee.
All right, so we could get them to change their concerts since we have such
That
a lead time.
we have talked to them on a number of occasions, informing them
Good.
that
Okay.
if they want the cheap rate, they need to do it Monday through Thursday, and believe you, we get argument from them.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
they're very
I've also been told
much
that
disdain. How can the city do this?
our weekend
What-
rate's about a third of what
everybody
everywhere
else
else is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do see
So
what it is.
Actually, all we have to do now is just make sure they schedule during the Monday through Thursday. That's all.
We suggest. Is it a Friday?
Yeah, it's Friday and it's all day. So Friday 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So you talk 13 hours at.
And that's in this coming May.
That's May 1st, 2020.
On a Friday.
On a Friday.
So that's the story. So you guys say no Fridays, then the school comes and complains to you, and we believe you. We tell, please move it, please. No. So
That's fine as long as we keep it Monday to Thursday.
Well, I suggest that I hear all that, but I still say we come back in a year, because I think no matter what we say, some people can't just do a banquet on Thursday or Wednesday night. So I think next year we come and look at it again, because we have a lot of groups that come to me and I'm telling them the same thing, but I'm saying, let's see how it goes in a year. If you come and tell me in 52 weeks we only had 40 weekends that were booked, because we're a third, the little church down the road probably couldn't afford $1,000 even for 3 hours. So I still say we come back and we look at what we're doing, because it may not work for Leesburg what's working in another city. So although it's easy to say move it to Thursday, and the band competition brings in 1,000 people for that 13 hours, I say come back next year and we evaluate where we are for the year. How many complaints has the city manager fielded? How many complaints have you fielded? Because I've already fielded at least, say thing, the Lake County Training School says, Thursday night was okay, but Friday night, oh my God. So even my church, we say, let's go to Morrison because we can't afford the community building. And I would hate to say that to my church and the other churches, that, hey, you can't afford the community building, because the reality is, and I'll say that when you're talking about small organizations having a banquet, that I now got to pick a caterer that's going to give me a flat rate of $15 a plate, and my ticket is $25. If I go with $25, the segment of the community can't afford it. So at that point, you're having a 200-person banquet and you made $500, and this doesn't work. So I think we tried a year. That was my initial comment, but I've had pastors even call me on today, and I had to secure out a room today that said we don't let religious groups use community building, because some people said that they tried to use for a repass and said we couldn't let us. I said no, that's not the case. It probably was a fee. So of course people will want to use it, but I still say let's go a year and see how it works, and if it's not working, then we adjust it. So. But yeah, you're gonna get those, because I've got about 6 of them.
Oh, I've got plenty from the nonprofits, but
Yeah.
this one, really seemed high. They did not mention that it was 13 hours, however.
13 hours. $3,500. It's 13 hours.
That's all I have.
Mayor Christian.
Well, she stole my comments, but that was my comments. And Merry Christmas, Dan Roebuck. He's gonna be going on another yearly trip, one of many. So be safe, and we'll see you in 2020. God bless you, everyone. Rest of the journey.